LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
The Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
On December 7th, 1941, was, of course, the horrific surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Some historians have argued, now looking at the number of records, that this may not have been as big a surprise to Franklin Roosevelt as we've been led to believe, but the USS Arizona was among those battleships attacked in the Pearl Harbor attack. That was a day that 1,770 American sailors and Marines who were aboard the USS Arizona died. 106 of that deceased crew has been identified. Most died and are still entombed within the sunken battleship that became their final resting place. Approximately 85 or more of the crew were removed from the ship in 1942, never identified and reburied with commingled graves 10 miles from Pearl Harbor, simply marked unknown. Others who died on other battleships' remains have been appropriately identified by the Department of Defense, now the Department of War. This situation regarding the USS Arizona was unacceptable to a man named Kevin Kleine. He's a nephew of one of those sailors who perished that day, and he began asking why the unknowns from the USS Arizona have not been identified. The government's answer: it costs too much, it'll take too long. Finding all the surviving family members and getting their DNA reference samples is too onerous. But Kevin took on really a one-man mission for justice in the name of those who perished on the USS Arizona, launching something called Operation 85, a non-profit mission that challenges bureaucracy, tracked down families across the United States, and forced movement in one of the great unsolved stories of World War II. There's good news behind this setup. Kevin Kleine has been our guest on several occasions talking about this important effort that he has undertaken to properly identify those who gave their lives in the name of their country, those unknown soldiers on the USS Arizona. And now, good news just in time, I hope, for the 85th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, also the day my wife and I got married. Kevin Kleine, welcome to the Roger Stone Show.
Good afternoon, Roger. Thanks again for having me. It's great to hear your voice.
So this has been an uphill fight, as you have argued with bureaucrats and submitted all kinds of studies and papers and tried to get the public whipped up to support your effort for justice. Tell us where things stand.
First off, thanks for that great introduction. It was perfect. I want to add one thing to it, just so your listeners understand, because this has been something that people have kind of balked back at me, and I want to make sure this is very clear. This project to identify the unknowns is not in any way touching the sunken battleship. We're not disturbing the ship. We're not disturbing the memorial there at Pearl Harbor. This is, again, just want to make clear to your listeners that we're not disturbing the ship. These are now, we believe, 141 unknowns associated with the USS Arizona and Pearl Harbor that were buried 10 miles away in these commingled graves. And like you said, we started this April 3rd, 2023 was the first day I said, I'm doing this. And it's funny, I have no background in history, DNA, science, anything involving what I got myself into the past 3 years. I'm just, I'm a business owner, husband, dad. I live here in Northern Virginia. And I was just really, really infuriated when the government said it would cost too much and take too long to find these families. And that answer to me basically meant they're never going to identify them. These guys are going to be left as unknowns forever because just the government felt it was too hard. So I just decided one day I was going to do it, Roger. I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what direction it was going to take me. But I just kind of jumped in and went after it. I knew I had to find families. And, we did many different ways of trying to find them. And one of the most successful ways was actually working with the media. And you allowed me to come on here today to take a victory lap because we did get to that threshold that is going to potentially start identifying these unknowns. But I want to make sure that your listeners also know how grateful I am for you and everything that you have been involved with it from day one. Many people invited me on the radio shows over the last 3 years. Many people wrote articles about what I'm doing, and you did all that as well, but you were the only person that also said, how can I help? And not only did you say that, but you backed it up and really got involved. You opened many doors for me politically along the way. And I unequivocally can say, had it not been for Roger Stone, many of these doors wouldn't have been open. So I'm very grateful for what you did behind the scenes for opening many doors for me.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the remains of others who perished on other ships have long been identified, correct?
Yeah, they started a project in 2015 for the USS Oklahoma, and there were, I think, approximately 400 unknowns that were buried similar to the USS Arizona in the exact same cemetery. And it was a survivor of the USS Oklahoma that did similar to what I did, and he did it for years. He didn't have the internet. He didn't have texting and all the technology that we have with websites. He was writing letters and trying to get family members to turn in DNA, and eventually in 2015 they had enough DNA on file to begin the USS Oklahoma project, and they were very successful. I think they've identified about 370 of the 390 unknowns. So that project was very successful, and that's what inspired me to say, hey, there's these unknowns from the Arizona. It's the most iconic battleship in the naval history. Like, when are we going to do these guys? And the answer was no. But so they always had the ability to do it. They just felt it would be too much money and too much time because there were so many families to find for the Arizona because there was so much loss of life on that ship.
I know that Senator Tommy Tuberville became a champion of your cause. What is the government's position now in terms of getting this finally adjudicated?
Complete 180. I was told about 6 or 7 months ago that when I asked them, we were getting very close, I said, did you ever think I would do this? And their honest answer was no. They did not believe that we would be able to find enough families, that the families would be interested enough to give DNA, and they didn't really feel that the families would be excited about this or want to participate. And so, obviously, over the last 3 years, we proved them wrong. Now, they have everything they need. Obviously, I did all the work. I paid for everything. I funded the mission. I put my business on hold. But now, with all that DNA on file, they're ready and willing to take the work that I did and move forward and identify these unknowns from the Arizona.
Yeah, this has been a masterful undertaking. This has really consumed your life, has it not?
For 3 years, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. Your kids have to be sick of hearing about this.
Roger, I would pick up the phone in line for a roller coaster at Hershey Park on Saturdays. I mean, at Christmas Eve, I'd pick up the phone. Whenever a family member called, whenever my phone rang, I picked it up. I think my family just got used to it. They knew I was saying the same spiel and saying the same thing to all family members, and we just kind of had it down pat and would answer questions for them. But you're right, it really took up my life for 3 years.
It does prove what my good friend General Flynn says, which is that one person taking action, local action, can have a national impact. And in this case, you have done exactly that. You also, unfortunately, have gotten the taste up close of federal bureaucracy, which can be one of the most frustrating things imaginable. If people want to read more about your project, where can they go?
Our website is ussarizona.navy, Navy, or you can just Google Operation 85. It's all over the place. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so if somebody would like to donate to our cause, that would be great as well. But we're really excited that it looks like for the 85th anniversary, we're going to have, definitely, maybe not all these guys identified at that point, but we're definitely going to begin disinterments this fall. That was announced by the DPAA, and hopefully soon we'll be having identifications after that.
Absolutely stunning. This is great news. I'm very excited that you've achieved what the democratic system says you can through a lot of hard work, a lot of organizing, a lot of advocacy, a lot of thankless hours pursuing justice. These USS Arizona families, I think, owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. There's your own family connection, of course, but you have taken on City Hall and you've beaten them, and I give you credit for that.
Thanks, Roger. And I didn't do it by myself. I had 3 great volunteers. I had wonderful people like you that stepped up behind the scenes. So once this thing got moving, there was a lot of people that also kind of jumped in and helped as well. So and I'm very thankful for everyone that did.
All right, many thanks. Thank you, Kevin Kleine, who runs the Operation 85 project.
Thanks for listening to The Roger Stone Show. You can hear The Roger Stone Show Sunday afternoons at 3. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?